All right. And so also going to put in the chat window here, I think you guys have already got nodes up and running, but just in case, in the chat window, here is the link to our worksheet page for today. It shows you the version of node that we're using, links to the binaries, a Docker image that you can use if that's how you're running. The network is up. The bootstrap address is published. There's a sample run command. Friendly reminder, it's helpful to run with 2 flags in your run command. One flag is store type, and the other is map size, and those are both specified in the worksheet if you need an update on what those are. And the reason that we were doing this is that while we're renovating our space, these 2 flags help support the ability to build long chains. During this testing session, I don't think we're going to get to a long chain point, but it's just a best practice right now to use both the store type and map size flags in your run command. Especially if you're, standing up a node and running a long term against the pubnet. So just to kind of recap where we are, we so pleased and really just so excited by the fact that since last Thursday, so from April 11th to just a few hours ago, we had PubNet running. I saw most of you who are here on the call engage with PubNet. You were deploying things, we were building a blockchain, and that was going really well. I'm also pleased to share with you that on the back end, from our perspective in terms of validators, we are ready and monitoring our validators so that if they run into trouble, we can kill them and bring them back up. And we didn't have to do that over the course of the week, and so that's really it's a huge milestone to be in a place. If you've been here a long time and you've observed out of memory errors or challenges in the instability in the platform, this is a big deal. Hold on, I've got a puppy in my room. So we're very pleased about that. That being said, we did take down the PubNet today, and I think at the time we took it down, it had well over, I think the last I saw before I went to bed last night, is it had well over 1,500 blocks on it, and those were blocks that you guys largely deployed. Our validators were auto-proposing, but the deployments were coming from users of PubNet, so that's also good news. But we did take down PubNet maybe 2 hours ago for the purpose of updating it with today's version that of our node that we're using in testing today. We wanted to do that because there are some things that are in dev right now that we wanted to use in testing because they are things that we have seen on PubNet and that we're not seeing in our DevNet when we're running there. So calling out particularly RChain 3115, that is that error that we were seeing, the invalid block with the ignorable equivocation, and that was related to simultaneous proposes. Hold on just a second. Okay, thank you for your patience. We have a new puppy in our house, and he barks, turns out. Okay, so 3115 is in dev. It's in the version that we're testing today. I'm really curious to see if we see that as we're going through our testing session today. We've also made some changes in the communications layer related to peering, specifically in augmenting the max number of connections. This means that I hope we shouldn't see some challenges that we've seen with peering in previous testing sessions. And you should also observe, perhaps, forgetting about peers that are no longer available and seeing that removed from your Kademlia table. I think. I haven't tested this yet either, so I'm not quite sure what to expect as an end user, but I do know that that change is in place such that, if you were an active node on a busy network and other nodes were leaving, your Kademlia table would be cleared of those unresponsive nodes so that it would free you up to connect to other peers, is how I understand it. So with that being said,
Kelly, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Do we have to set store type and map size arguments to
Yes,
run the node?
please. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, Kelly, I just went out for 10 minutes. I will be back at the computer in
Okay, cool. Thank you.
10 minutes.
Okay. Let's see. All right, so if you're running a node today, you can either let me know in voice or in chat when you are connected. Curious to know that.
Yeah, I'm online.
Awesome, thank you. And if I look, hey there, Philip. All right, so I show on my node 109 blocks. So what you should be observing is some catching up.
My peers real quick.
Up here. Yeah, hold on. Okay, I see 14 peers.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, good.
You see my right? Just to make sure.
I'm sorry, is what?
Do you see my terminal right now?
Oh, yeah, I do.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I do. Hey there, Joshy.
Hello, good morning.
Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
I just received on my read-only node
Mm-hmm.
this message.
Yeah, I see it. I don't know. It seems that someone.
Ah,
No, it's definitely not caused by crosstalk. It seems that someone has still node which is trying to connect to this node.
it would be me, don't you think?
Well, I think that you have restarted node since.
I have restarted, but my IP address doesn't change.
Yeah, but
Actually, I haven't removed my RSpace folder. I forgot
Ah,
about it.
I'm not
Could
sure.
be.
I'm not really
I will
sure
do this now.
yeah.
how the Kademlia work, but I think that some peer just remembered this one and it's broadcasting it.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that the firewall works now.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess I can confirm that every node that I've brought up over the past several days, I mean, since last Friday, I have not received that message.
Mhm. Is it okay that I have this message 2 times?
I think so.
Okay.
Did you change the logging level somehow?
Me?
No. I'm just wondering that there is no connecting to and making new channel.
Yeah, I
messages.
think, yes, I think Pavel did put something in there.
Nice.
Yeah, less noisy. Yeah, I think it's, I think it was his RChain 3126.
So just to confirm, I'm just switching for past 4 minutes traffic on DevNet, and there are only DevNet nodes.
Oh, good. That's encouraging. Do you see the version ID change in there? What does that look like?
I cannot see it because
Okay.
everything is encrypted.
Ah, I see. The fact that you still have just the Genesis block is not troublesome. On your console, I see that you're receiving blocks, and what happens is you receive them up until the point that you receive block number 1, and then you start processing them. So what we'd want to
Yeah,
see,
and so I will get eventually. I will get the all of them
yeah,
in a package.
yeah. So if you are in catch-up mode, I'm showing 132 blocks.
Actually, I can start this script.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
My read-only node.
Yeah, yeah, that
Don't
won't
have
be a
anything
problem.
with that.
And that would be good because I have a, when we saw the ignorable equivocation, your script was running. Hopefully, and I think it was. I'm just curious if we can recreate it, and I'm hoping that we can't.
Okay. So what I have here, I will send refs from this wallet, this address, this private key. It is dummy private key, so I can share it. So now I just need to mint some refs with that faucet to this address.
Excellent.
Okay. I have some scripts here. Okay, so here I'm creating file with the deploy script and trying to deploy it on node 7. And I need a ref secret.
I can generate one for you if you want.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Thanks. So what we're going to deploy is this script. For this contract, we're going to call final creation of this vault to create a vault with 100,000 of refs. Okay, and I have I missed that. Okay, and also in the separate terminal I call the watcher on node 7 logs with filter by my keyword, so it won't dump the whole stream. Okay, so deploy was successful. Now I'm going to propose. And what we can see, kind of strange. Why didn't it print anything?
is strange. So you did add the block. A477. Okay.
So I should see it in show blocks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But certainly, if we
Maybe just I started watching the logs too late, so I just check the balance now. Check the balance of the wallet I just created. Actually, I shouldn't change this private key because I can check the balance of the every wallet. But
okay, I do see, so I'm looking at node 7. I do see that block.
yes, I use node 7 here.
Yeah. And then if I go looking in the block,
Is it A477?
Yeah, now I see. Oh, actually strange. It's just access vault, checking balance. I don't know. So maybe I just started the log streaming too late. So now you can see that vault was created and it is full with refs. All good.
Excellent.
So now I start to spam the network, sending.
Yes, spam the network.
Yay. Let's check that. Okay, these are my secrets. So okay, these are my secrets, and these are users I'm gonna send refs to. Okay, so looks like all good. So okay, now when we will reach node 7, we just check that this script is working through the logs that we attached to. Okay, now we're going to node 7. Let's
Oh, I see it.
Have a look what we will get here.
I see your script running on my node. Or I see, actually,
Oh,
let me
yeah,
be more
this is
specific. I see your deployments coming from the validators via my
good. Yeah, and actually, this is the logs from Node 7, and it has already received some previous deploys from Node 0, 1, and so on. These are.
Thank you for writing that. It's very elegant.
Actually, it's quite strange. Why does my Node 7, which I deployed the check balance to, it should have been evaluating that code twice, because there is a check every code when being deployed, being run twice. That was what Dan told me. But after that, we can see that Node is running check balance again. Then it receives some deploy that I made to Node 2, and then after it is run again.
Okay, that's interesting. I was starting to wonder, based on, because I know you took your node down several days ago, right?
Yeah.
Or at least you stopped running the script several days ago, and block propagation continued. And I couldn't figure out anybody else that was deploying. So it started me to wonder if we were reevaluating code that was already on the blockchain over and over again. Is that what?
Yeah, it looks like that. Yes. Because in the previous meetings, Kent was saying that this can be the issue. This can be because all nodes try to reach the consensus. So when they get block, they can try to include it somehow. I don't know. I know that there is some concept of block merging. Maybe you try to merge some deploys in several blocks and try to, I don't know how this can be, but it can be because of nodes trying to reach consensus.
Yeah,
that's how I got that from Kent.
I think that's accurate too. And so, for example, that's the work in our chain 3244 is going to be a part of that fix, which is not in yet. Where's that PR? It's not even reviewed yet. Okay. Phil, you're not syncing. Phil, how many peers do you have? Seven. So I think you have about 50% of available peers. I wonder if that's a blocker to you. Yeah, you have exactly 50% of the peers that I have. I don't believe I'm connected to Phil based on his IP address. All right, well, the good news about your script NetZipper is it does produce a lot of blocks. And so
Yeah.
whether you intended it to or not, due to the bug related to invalid repeat deploy, we do get a lot of block production out of it. So as we're doing that, I'm specifically looking for the ignorable equivocation. That's what I'm curious to see as we continue to let this run. Also starting to be curious what this stack looks like. Oh man. Well, it gets exciting when the bug takes control and we have the invalid repeat deploys. I will share my screen real quick. You guys can enjoy it. So if you're looking at my screen, let's zoom out so we can see the full breadth of it. So we had this, we started the blockchain probably 2.5 hours ago and building, and this is me just, queuing fairly straightforward building of blocks on every validator. And then we started testing. And then NetZipper ran his script, which is excellent. And very quickly ran into the repeat deploy bug. And that is what that looks like.
On which nodes?
On which nodes?
Yeah, I don't see any such error on testnet nodes.
It's not a message. It's funny. It's not an error. It's not an error message. It is this. As Kent describes it, there's just not a blocker to repeating a deployment that should not be repeated as consensus is working to come to consensus.
Okay.
He does have a PR in, but he's been out of office most of this week.
Okay. So this
List of peers drawer. Trying to remember.
I know. Let me just
thank you.
put back.
and talking about this repeating deploys, I wonder when the transaction can be, when we can think about transaction as a finalized.
That's a really good question. I mean, we do, even with the repeat deploy bug, we do see, we do see finalization of blocks, but that's not a finalization of the transaction, right? Because it's still repeating.
But if
right.
block is finalized, so the, for example, sending of revs that was included in that block, that transaction should be, if I queue for query for the balance, it should change after that block.
It should change, I think. But I guess what I'm worried is I'm unclear that block finalization is the same as transaction finalization. Phil, the repeating bug is, it's called invalid repeat deploy. And wait a second. Basically, as Kent describes it, there's nothing preventing a repeat of a deployment from a validator right now. Like, it will deploy it once, and then it might deploy it again.
So you can see right now on my screen that node 7 is executing deploys, which are in about 5-10 minutes in distance between them. So is what about this bug? That node is executing all deploy.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice thing that it doesn't execute check and balance.
Right.
Actually, I found that after quite time, these old deploys somehow go away.
They go away?
So the node were executing deploys for about 10 hours ago, but not a day ago.
Ah, I see what you're saying. Phil, I think Kent would agree with that statement, that it's expected without, as it's currently implemented, what's happening is expected.
This is completely unrelated, but SpaceX will launch rocket in 2 minutes.
Oh, I love rocket launches.
All right, I have 150 blocks. That's good.
Let's see.
And my previous show block showed 31 block. So
Okay, so yeah, you've been catching up.
Yeah.
I show 9 instances of 155.
All validators have 155.
All the validators have a vision.
150, it was only 2.
Phil, any change in your peer count or in your catch-up rate? Oh, good. When you say it finally synced, did your peer count increase? Oh, okay. Who else on the call is running a node right now? You either use voice or chat. I'm curious to know.
I am.
Yep, you are. And Phil, obviously, thank you. Drew, are you running a node? Ooh, 10 seconds to
Yeah.
work at lunch. So amazing.
It's on 156.
Okay, good news.
Is that question while we're waiting? How does the hardware quality, how does the performance of the network depend on hardware quality? Because right now I can see that nodes are not under heavy load.
Well, we can really assert hardware quality we are running in the cloud, but
I mean,
yeah.
there's no much CPU used or CPU used.
Yeah.
So does it mean that the most valuable resource is the bandwidth? So if nodes are really interconnected with 100 gigabytes, it would be much more valuable than powerful CPUs.
Well, I think that we use Java and it needs lots of memory, so I think that memory is really valuable. I think that bandwidth is fine. There's not so much traffic yet.
I mean,
there was talks about that when we get the top-notch hardware, we can get more transactions per second.
Yeah, sure. If you really overload it, then sure. I guess that the CPU would be.
So we should pack a lot of transaction in one block.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that Yao has been playing with, is trying to figure out how many transactions, what's the optimal amount of deployments into a block related to performance. I don't know what machinery he's using. I mean, the short answer to your question is we don't know yet. We are renovating our space, so really not very focused on performance right now until that gets in. When that is in, we'll start looking at more closely at performance in our testing environment, and then we'll look at it in the PubNet environment. But we can make some assumptions about operating in the cloud versus operating on hardware, but also the other big part of it is location. And performance related to a network that's has wide geographic distribution versus a network that's very closely co-located.
Yeah, just what we usually run out of memory before other resources become bottleneck.
Right.
and it's not because we use too much memory. There is a bug, and since we are renovating the R space, it's something with the LMDB native code, which is not accounted in memory. That's being accounted by Java. So that usually blows up before everything else so far. Yeah.
So I'm poking around in logs. I'm looking to see if any of the validators or myself has experienced the ignorable invalid block, and I don't see it at this time.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
it
quite
would
ready to
be.
say I don't see it at all, but I don't see it yet.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
I just saw the message peer is currently unavailable. Actually, pretty rare message.
Can I see?
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah. I wonder why that's an error.
Well, this is a really universal error. It, for example, it happened when I created certificates which had wrong ID, and it was a bug. But the gRPC layer, it reports this error basically for, yeah, it's pretty hidden. It's really happening. It could be that perhaps someone lost connection in the middle of stream, but I cannot really tell.
Oh, Phil, sorry. I didn't see your question the first time. Elizabeth, can you help? Phil needs to know how to get test rev, and you have a pretty elegant way of doing that.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Second, please. I've seen some strange message. I wanted to.
I want to see strange messages.
What is it? I just haven't seen this big message yet, or haven't paid attention.
Yeah, my guess is you haven't paid attention. That's sending to everybody.
So to the question was how to get test rev. Actually, in order to deploy, you don't have to have test rev, right?
Oh, that's correct. Yeah. So Phil, you don't have to generate test rev to deploy. You can just use the same. Do set like a high flow limit and a flow price as we have typically done, and it will successfully deploy. We have not fully implemented cost accounting to require that. You do, however, need to make sure that in your deployment that you include your private key to sign over the deployment. That is a requirement. Okay. Let's see. So did you, I'll just put here in the chat is what I'm typically deploying with right now.
Floor price can be 0. Maybe that's 0
No, it can.
in your case. Okay, guys. I'm sorry, but I have to go.
Oh, no worries. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for participating. And we can start to wrap up here. The plan is we wanted to run with this version to see if we could validate that the ignorable equivocation is not happening. At this point, we have not observed it in this test session, so I'm cautiously optimistic that that is resolved. We have had another PR go in during this testing session that we would like to also use. So I think our intention is to take down the network that we're currently using right now. Tag 9.3 and then update pubnet with 9.3 and just let it run from there.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone who's on the call, thank you so much for being here. If you were running nodes or are here to listen and learn, we're glad you're here. And we will meet again next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.